What is this V-shaped object that has carvings on it and different holes? At first I thought it might be some sort of instrument, but the internet searches I did related to musical instruments did not result in any matches. It is in Romania. However, I am not sure that it is of Romanian origin. It has some carvings, but they are decorative. Does anyone have a clue? It's a deer horn gunpowder holster, a Transylvanian hunting accessory for keeping gunpowder, dating from the 18th century. Unlike other types of horns, deer horn was used to make gunpowder holsters used by hunters, especially in mountainous areas and in border areas. In addition to their practical function, these heels were also a symbol of the owner's status, being also true hunting trophies. What is this wooden thing with two metal handles on each end? It measures 2 feet by 5 inches height and 4 inches depth. There are 24 round holes carved on the bottom part, about 1.5 inches wide, and each of those has 2 circles carved out within them. There is some faded writing on the bottom and top, but I cannot figure out what. It was found in a barn on a farm that's 100+ years old in Minnesota. There are no moving parts, and there is a hardware attached to the top that something may have been threaded through. Any ideas? It's a milk test wooden rack designed to hold 24 Babcock bottles, used to scientifically determine the amount of butter fat in milk. The rack was invented by John Matson in 1905. Back in the day, this was how you determine which cows were giving high butterfat milk and which were future hamburgers. A Babcock bottle is a clear glass flask with a long graduated neck. It is also called a Babcock milk test bottle. The bottle and the test were developed in 1890 by Stephen M. Babcock, a professor at the University of Wisconsin. The procedure and glassware were standardized by the U.S. government in 1917. My friend and I found this miniature chair from a thrift store today. We are curious as to why the chair we recently purchased has a big hole in the seat. The chair is roughly 7 inches tall, and the hole is just under 3 by 3 inches. It appears hand-assembled as there's glue visible on the joints. No visible markings or identifiers. We theorize that maybe it's doll furniture meant to look like a toilet chair or a candle holder. Any ideas? It's a colonial-style doll rocking chair planter from the 1940s, and it used to hold a terracotta flower pot. My mom had one of these with a plant in it for as long as I can remember, and it's probably still around her house somewhere. What is this wood and metal piece that is approximately 4 inches wide and 2 inches tall? My friend found this at her property in North Dakota and is trying to identify it. So far, folks have thought a piece to a telegraph machine or a trap of some kind. Any idea what is this thing? It's part of a battery box ignition coil for an early Ford Model T. This is the original unit designed for the Ford by the KW Ignition Corporation of Cleveland, Ohio, and patented on April 7, 1914. What are these two attached metal tubes with screw-on lids I found in a pile of old family items? The lids are removable with little chains attached and measures approximately 3 inches long. It's made of some type of metal, quite thin and easily bendable. Soldering is evident where the chains for the screw-on lids attach to the main piece. I found it with other smoking paraphernalia such as lighters, so unsure if associated or not. No specific engravings or brands and logos on the item. Any ideas? It's an early Swedish Mauser rifle oiler, used by multiple Swedish Mauser rifles, from model 1893 to model 1941. These were used during World War I and World War II and post-war. It has 2 chambers with screw-top lids and attaching chains. One site is for storage, and the other is for grease. What is this typewriter type thing that doesn't have any letters, only numbers? I thought it was an old calculator or something similar, but only had arrows next to the numbers. I found this in an antiques shop, and whilst it seemed to function like a typewriter, it only had numbers and no letters. I asked the owner for info, but he had no clue either. Any idea what this could be? It's a facet mechanical calculator made in Sweden around 1925 to 1935. It was cleverly designed to have a keyboard to input numbers instead of setting the numbers on a wheel. Facet calculators work on a similar principle to the more conventional Oddner-type pinwheel calculators, but their external appearance and user interface are strikingly different. Facet machines seem to be less common than oddners on eBay, but serial number evidence points to many more facet machines being made. The obvious conclusion is that facet machines are more fragile or less easy to repair than oddners, so fewer machines have survived. What is this thing I inherited from my grandfather? It has 3 numbered non-magnetic tips and a springy handle. The needle rotates, it has a piece of wire on the tip and follows metal objects and magnets. The entire device is made of metal, except the transparent ring around the indicator needle, which seems to be filled with metallic beads. The device has several adjustment screws that seem to be suited for centering the needle. The needle rotates around a dial which is marked in 60 increments and numbered every 5 increments. The handle and 3 tips are threaded and removable from the center dial piece. Does anyone have a clue? It's a Spanish dipping needle from the early 1900s to 1920s, and apparently doesn't actually do anything whatsoever. It was sold to people who wanted to prospect for gold, silver, or other minerals. While it was prospecting quackery, a number of these were sold to gullible prospectors. I was fortunate enough to speak to Mark Hall-Patton, the curator of the Clark County Museum in Nevada, and a frequent authenticator on Pawn Stars. He confirmed this information. The curved glass tubing appears to contain pyrite or fool's gold for looks. The box appears to have been repurposed. Mitchell makes fishing reels, likely the original contents of the box. What are these bullet-shaped sharp tapered end things? About the size of a bullet, they look old and magnetic. I got them from my uncle's attic, and no one in my family knows what they are either. What are these things? They are vibrating shuttles, a bobbin driver design used in home lockstitch sewing machines during the second half of the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century. It supplanted earlier transverse shuttle designs, but was itself supplanted by rotating shuttle designs. What is this unknown cast iron with a rounded top handle and a flared flattened bottom? I was asked to ID this by our local antiques shop owner, but I have no clue. I could only guess it may have been a part of a larger system or mechanism. It is roughly 2 to 3 pounds, 5 inches tall, and might be the late 19th or early 20th century. The rust leads to the assumption of outside use, perhaps farming related. Any ideas? It's the center part of the whipple tree that connects a horse to a wagon or carriage. It's a mechanism to distribute force evenly through linkages. It is also referred to as an equalizer, letter bar, or double tree. A wooden beam with this in the center and a link on each end that connects to the harness by the traces or tugs. What is this weird wood and metal thing found near an urban stream? It was found while doing a greenway cleanup, and it was in the bushes along the stream. The only thing I could think it would be is like maybe part of a mill of some sort. It's pretty heavy for its size, maybe 40-ish pounds. Any idea what this could be? Please let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.